Britannia. Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. And welcome to Somerset, where our casual racism is on full display. I'm Bankole Eyo, and today we're discussing the Rishi-centric fourth episode of the industry's third season. And guys, in order to get to all the facets of Rishi, I've reunited the OG industry team. They are never not betting big on Britain. It's Eyo and Victor.
That's crazy. I thought you were going to do something else for the opening. I thought you were going to say
that was
something else.
anticlimactic to say the least, like highly disappointing. But right before we get
Do you
to
know
the
what
episode,
happened?
I'd like
I
to
was
say
actually
something.
rushing. I was rushing to get the intro done because somebody was, but then person was ended up being late. I was like, I could have spent more time to do this intro, but whatever. It is what it is. What do you want to say?
Damn, Ayo, always late. But I want to say that this Rishi episode for me, like it hit so close to home. Like
Should
I
we just wait?
related.
Can
Can we get to
we're
the
not
episode?
Okay, let's go.
Episode.
Right.
That was very Rishi of you. Start it off.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, quickly, guys. Admin. Slow Horses returns this week. We're employing a bi-weekly schedule for that, so we'll have podcasts out after episodes 2, 4, and 6. Please rate on whatever platform you're listening on, and if you're listening to Apple Podcasts, please review as well and sign up for our newsletter. That'll be in the description. Okay, Industry episode 4 titled White.
Sorry.
Yes.
When you said we're employing, I was like, niggas are getting paid. I've never been paid. But then you said, okay,
You're paid in love and admiration.
Whatever. Started off Banky.
Episode 4 is titled White Mischief. It's directed by Zoe Whittock and written by co-creators Mickey Down and Conrad K. Yeah, I'm going to start with you.
Duh.
I have never asked this question more seriously than I'm about to ask it now. Did you like this episode?
It's probably my favorite episode of the season so far.
Wow.
I know you weren't expecting that. I know. You think you know me, but you don't know me.
Wow. Okay, we'll get to all of this. Victor, did you like this episode?
I love this episode because
it was like a documentary, right? For your life.
My life. I swear to God, like it hit too close to home. The highs, the lows, like just like it was an intense emotional roller coaster. Like, and bro, my blood like rushed to parts that it shouldn't have rushed.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
So you haven't been on this podcast, I think, since we did the season 2 preview. So
yeah,
I was like,
Bankole, thanks for leaving me
you're
out
You're literally on it right now. Keep going. You're literally on the podcast right now.
Oh, the podcast. After how many years? Literally, you blanked me the whole 2023. Knowing that I was going through things. You literally abandoned me the whole 2023, and it hurt.
I didn't want to stress your life because I knew you were going through it.
What if this was the one thing I needed to bring me out of the darkness?
Like, shut up! This guy was so behind on his TV shows.
You were Victor. You watching January episodes in November. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
When did you even finish Succession?
Potato.
Like, don't even. Anyway, my point is, I was like, I want to get Victor on this season, and then we spoke, and we're like, we'll get to episode 4. This was before I'd even watched a single scene from this season. And I watched episode 4, and I was like, I'm so happy Victor is coming on this episode. Like, I couldn't have picked a better episode for Victor to
really
come on. I really like this episode. I didn't think I was going to like this episode even halfway through.
Really?
But like, the more time we spent in the episode, the better it just felt for me. Like, I think the second half of this episode is impeccable. I think Saga's performance in this episode is ridiculous.
Chef's kiss.
But before we go to Rishi, let's just quickly touch on a few things that were non-Rishi that happened. First of all, Yasmin's reaction in the boardroom when Rishi's like, and Rob, I bed with Henry. Obviously, last episode, you were talking about why would Yasmin sleep with Henry and everything, and like, yeah. So I was like, if you know this how you're going to react, why are you doing this? Like, if you're going to do it, you have to be a lot more like stand on business.
What I said didn't make sense to me.
Okay, so also, I wanted to ask this last week, but I forgot because we just got loads of things. Is it normal for people to talk to their MDs like this? Like, Sweet Pea is a first year, and she's really like, kind of like, or is this just like a TV thing? She's like going back and forth with Eric in the meeting.
I think it depends on the workplace.
I think
Some
it's a
workplaces will empower you to do that, and I think it also goes to something that we can touch on later. But Rishi saying the contract has always been clear: if I'm producing, I'm free.
Mm-hmm. If I'm making money, I'm free.
Yeah, if
Victor,
I'm
what were you
making
going
money,
to
I'm
say?
free.
I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
He wonders why he has been on the podcast in 2 years. Victor,
Nigga
before we go
coked
into
up.
Rishi, you said that there's some things that we've discussed in previous episodes that you wanted to push back on. Do you want to quickly run through them?
Yeah. First thing being, I heard your take, Ayo specifically's take
Who
on
the fuck is that? Who is that? Who's take?
Do you call you Ayo?
uh
What do you call you Ayo? What did he just call you?
Yeah. Who is that?
on what's this boy's name again?
Well, Robert.
Rob
Better be
and
careful what you're about to say, Victor. Anyway, your Instagram handle is on the video. Whatever you want to say it.
Put his business Instagram as well.
Yeah. Can't plug. Do you want to continue?
Can't plug
oh
NG.
yeah, guys, if you need to buy a car
Don't you
anywhere
fucking
from
dare.
anywhere in the
Can you,
world,
can you,
CarPlug NG, the CarPlug NG on
you know what?
Instagram. I
I
got
blame myself.
you.
I blame myself. Let's talk about the
Whatever
episode.
whatever you want, whatever you need, whichever car, be it
I am about
anywhere
to
in the
mute you.
world, I
I'm
got you.
about to mute you. About to mute you. Okay, so let's talk about the episode since Victor doesn't want to be serious. Yeah, you love this episode.
Yes.
Tell me why. Just to start from, let's give me a general big picture thoughts. Why do you like this episode?
Bruh, because it's good, bruh. It's good. It's good. I liked it because it's good.
Did you
I
know?
think,
Yeah, go ahead.
did I know what? Ask your question. Sorry.
Did you always know you were loving this episode? Like at every stage of this episode, you're like, I am
think
fully
so.
on board.
I think from the beginning, I knew I was liking the episode. And then towards the middle, going to the end, I was like, okay, this might be the highlight of the season for me so far, anyways.
It's a big risk they're taking. Sorry,
Huge,
continue.
huge.
Finish your thoughts.
And we can think. I'll touch on some of the more interesting things that I think it did in this episode that I don't think it's done so far this season.
Okay.
But it's epic. It's a wild ride of Rishi. I'll be honest. I don't think in season 1, like a Rishi episode is something I'd have been interested in. And I think it's testament to how good the show is that now I cared, even a little.
Yeah. I was thinking about this as well. I was like, they spent the time in season 2 making us care more about Rishi, in which a season 3 episode makes sense. Because right, even season 2, in which Rishi played a bigger role, a Rishi episode would still not have worked.
It would still not have worked. No.
This is the perfect time for a Rishi episode.
Exactly. And I think the reason I love this episode is because, and challenge me if you think otherwise, but I think this is the most dialogue heavy episode we've had so far. Like the lines were coming thick and fast. And I think it's because it's Rishi. Because Rishi is a character that is always saying some.
He's also on cocaine for like the whole episode.
Yeah.
So he's saying something a lot of the time and very quickly.
A lot. Yeah. Like even from the first scene in this episode, him walking to the office, talking to Robert and asking him for his money, and then trying to convince him about the horses, which, I've watched that scene 4 times. I still don't know what he said. And then Rob goes, I don't know what the fuck you just said. All right. And I think that is the show.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because like, I think we've never dedicated this type of amount of time to a character. Even like the Eric episode where it goes to America.
The Eric episode, yeah.
That's like half of the episode. This is literally Rishi for the entire episode. But yeah, for me, like I said, the more the episode went in, the more I was like, oh, I am fully on board. Like, I love Rishi. I just didn't know I would, like halfway through, quarter through, I'm like, do I want a Rishi episode? Like, do I care about Rishi's troubles in Somerset and him trying to fix this pub? Like, so but then the more I was like, oh, okay. And then I was, even on rewatch, I was like, second half of this episode is just so good. Like,
it's so good.
I was just like, I'm not even taking notes again. I'm just gonna watch it. Like I don't want to take notes. I just want to focus on like from the moment he is at the cafe with Sweet Pea and he gets the news. Like from then to the end of the episode, I don't know that might be halfway. That might be like 20 minutes in. From there to the end, I was just he just locked in. But yeah, Rishi is getting it from all angles. And Victor, I'll come to you in a second. I want to know why this relates to you. He's getting from all angles. He has the personal debt. He has the work risk. He has the threat of his job because of this Reddit thing, which I think we need to touch on as well. And I saw somewhere, I haven't been able to confirm that this is an actual quote from either Miki or Conrad, but I saw somewhere that they said that they were inspired by Uncut Gems
I saw the same thing.
for this episode. But it's funny, and I get that in terms of like the feel and the tense nature of the episode. It was also the gambling part of this
Also,
episode.
the gambling, yeah.
But when I was watching it, the thing that came to my head was Wolf of Wall Street. And like those
Fair.
kind of like gangster Scorsese kind of films where it's like, you see him get so engrossed in this world. We don't see the part where he's not engrossed because they're doing a 3-hour film in a 1-hour episode, right? So we don't see him getting into the business kind of thing. But like for me, he had all the trappings. It's like he's trying to build something out of nothing, but he gets in over his head. He has the marital strife back at home. He has his greed leading to poor decision making. He has his increased paranoia. He has the traitor, the person who is snitching. Like I was just like, this is Rishi in a Wolf of Wall Street
Gangster
movie.
film. Fair.
Like this is Rishi in Goodfellas. Like, and I think again, it just has that energy. Uncut Gems, I fully understand in terms of the feel, but I really went for Wolf of Wall Street in terms of the content. But speaking of the content of this episode, Victor, why did it speak so directly to you?
Or did it hit home?
How many nights have you spent in
Like
the
high
in
on
the
high on
club
coke.
in the
Well,
club stroke gambling?
so it hit home for me because because of my work and my lifestyle. And I say my work and my lifestyle being I
A
say
terrible thing for you to say.
This guy just said, I am Rishi. Rishi's me. My work and my lifestyle.
You cannot start your
Uh,
answer by saying that.
but I say this to say that like I'll start with how his work and my work are similar, or rather how what he did in the episode and like how like it translates to my life and how so
Mm-hmm.
how he just kept hedging and hedging and hedging and betting it all on the pounds, like going over his limits, having what's his name go over his limit too, just hoping and praying for that big payout, right? It speaks to me because that's how like I am in my like work life. Like and Ayo knows it's like I double down. I
Yeah, say
I
your ancestry.
I double
They said they'll name you.
like
Jimmy,
I
imagine I'm not one of them, please.
like I can't. It's like for me, it isn't worth it if the payout at the end of the day is not huge. So like for me, like when I do something, I put my all in plus more to the point where it's almost self-inflicted pain on myself, and it's painful pleasure. If I'm
Okay.
like I like the deeper the hole I put myself in, the sweeter it feels.
Incredible phrasing, but continue.
And but then there's the one thing that that always I mean it always now goes like it's like always spiraling downwards when like I put everything I have into it. It gets to a point where things start to seem like, okay, I think I just fucked up. I think I shouldn't have done this. Like what the hell? Like I just miscalculated, and it now everything just seems to be failing and falling. Then it just gets to the point where there's this turn. There might be two turns, just like Rishi had. There might be the first time where I think, okay, we're about to bounce back. Then the shit doubles down and nope, fuck you, you know. And it's the rush. It's literally it's just it gives me life, right?
What the
And
fuck
then
is going on?
we get to the payouts, the end of the rainbow, as you'd say, and
Okay.
the payout is always like beautiful, and it's so beautiful to the point where obviously while I'm going through the motion, I'm always like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again. And then get to the end, the payout comes, and I'm like, that was beautiful.
You know, you've just described an addiction.
It's
Where's the next?
like straight up, man.
Like
Straight
you
up.
just described an addiction, like word for word.
Word for word, man.
And
And you did it well. I'm not gonna lie. It was enticing.
And I'm literally like, okay, where's the next high? Like, what's the next thing I can put money into? Double down and let's we go again, right?
so
And it's literally, and it's crazy because, sorry to keep cutting you off. It's crazy because
no, go ahead.
in a whole year, I can probably have my account balance can be full once in a whole year. Because like, once the payout comes, it's huge. I literally take every single cent, put it into the next
So
next thing. And then again we go through the motions. And I guess
Not-
this is so and it's like, and I'll tell you something. It's like
Mhm.
once there's money in my account, I'm actually I'm never happy. Like I'm always on edge. Like
This boy is a gambling addict.
like I'm always,
This was a
but like
gambling
this is,
addict.
but then obviously like this is not like me going to the casino and like, betting all on red. This is like, well, okay, you can equate it to that, but like it's business related at the end of the day.
yeah.
And I
But
know
Rishi
that.
was also business,
like
not the
Rishi,
casino
yeah.
part.
Like,
Yeah,
the
okay. Rishi was
work
also
part.
business.
But I think
True.
the episode is showing you that even though it happens in business, it also happens in your personal life as
It happened
well.
in my personal life, and like I
That's
felt
what
it, and like
that's what the
it
episode
was
is
like,
showing you.
I literally felt like I was having like an outer body experience watching him go through these ones. Like, oh my
So
god, I know what you're going through. Oh my god, Jesus Christ! Like, because I'm going through it right now. I'm currently in it. I'm currently in the dive.
boys in down moment.
so
So
so you're somewhere. Are you before or after the club?
I am before the club.
Before the
I'm before
club,
the club.
but
I
also
am
before the
so
casino.
actually no. I am where I am currently
At the
is
Christmas party.
Yeah,
when he was collecting money from everybody.
money from Christmas party.
That's where I am.
So not to turn this into amateur
Let's
psychiatry
go.
corner, but so you watching this episode, is that going to change anything about the way you are? Or
So
you're just going to keep on
yes.
doing it?
So the thing is, Chris, funny you should ask that question because I asked myself the same question.
At least some introspection, some. That's
No,
good enough.
because there was a lot of introspection. Like it was like I said, like when you're in it and you're playing it out, you don't see you're killing yourself.
Okay.
But like watching it play out to someone else and me giving that person advice, don't do it, knowing if it was me, I'll do it.
Uh-huh.
It's like it was like, okay, I think I need to change. I think I need to not be as, what's the word I want to use? Thirsty for risk. There's a particular word.
I
I
think
mean, you're
I know
right.
what you
That's
mean.
right. That's the right way.
But I
Yeah,
think that's the right phrase.
Yeah.
yeah. So like I need to take
Adrenaline junkie.
take a step back, but then at the same time, it's like I remember I tried to take a step back a while ago, and it felt like I wasn't alive. Like I think I tried to do like safe businesses. Like I put like a huge amount somewhere, and I think I got a return of like I think like I was like, what the fuck is this? What am I doing with this? Right? It wasn't juicy enough for me, which is why like I was like, okay, I left that and I bounced back to what I love, I guess,
I,
if you call it that.
it's I did not know you were this much like Rishi. Like it's insane how
Bankole, we need to send this clip to a therapist. Because
And
my
then,
man keeps describing how he's addicted.
yeah. I also just said like I was saying to Mickey and Con, I'm like, guys, your art It's not far fetched.
It's true.
Like obviously when like we got to the end of the episode and like he won, he came out on top. I was like,
Okay.
That's a very interesting reading of how the episode ends, but let's keep going.
he came out on
Do you
top.
mean at
Obviously
work or at home?
not at work because not at home.
Okay.
He also
Okay.
he also kind of did come out on top at home because he saved his marriage.
She did all the work.
She saved his marriage. He didn't do anything.
Like I
She
said,
did all the work.
he came out on top.
I mean,
Okay, wait. I want to talk
I-
about a few more technical things in this episode, and then
Yeah.
Banky, I don't know what the what's it called? I don't know how you want to do the rundown. Do you want to go
no, it's really just Rishi
chronologically,
throughout.
or-
So I think we could just talk about everything.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
Rishi.
okay.
It's Rishi from
Yeah.
beginning to
So
end.
something I noticed in this episode, and I don't know if this is something that they've done in the past, and I just never noticed it, but the way that other characters would jump in and like intersect or interject into not intersect, but interject into dialogue in this episode, it reminded me so much of like Veep. But I'm not sure if that's something they usually do. Like in the beginning scene, in the morning meeting scene, where
Mhm.
you know, he mentions that thing about Yasmin and then it cuts to her. She goes, "Excuse me." Or when he goes fucking Tories towards the end and then Robert says, "Oh, now they're fucking Tories."
Yeah,
I don't know if that's something that's happened before, but I really enjoyed it in this episode.
you're
Because I
right.
feel like
you're right.
usually it's one-on-one. Like when people are talking, it's like
And
one-on-one.
most of, to be fair, most of the interjections are happening off screen. Quote
Yeah,
unquote interjections, and they're usually from Rishi. So I guess maybe now that we're on Rishi's POV,
exactly.
everything. No, because you are right. Because like in my head, I was like, I didn't contextualize it, but in my head, I was like, it feels like we are just trying to bring in the quote unquote main characters at random points. But the way you described it actually makes more sense now. Because I was like, there's a point when he's getting money from Eric, and you just see Yasmin just like looking over her shoulder.
Just there,
She
yeah.
doesn't say anything. And I was like,
Yeah.
that feels different. But you're right. I guess because now we are in the like outsiders POV. So yeah, that's interesting.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. Okay. I'm gonna talk about the things I really liked. First of all, what do you think the first thing I'm gonna say is Banky?
Sweet pea.
Sweet Pea fucking back, man.
But-
Long live Sweet Pea.
But
Long
she's
live Sweet Pea.
but she's sleeping with a married man. Oh, she slept with
Yeah,
a married
man, that
man.
was terrible, man. But like she hates him
Terrible
now.
for
so-
you.
Yeah. But she hates him now, so like we're back on side.
I don't think she hates him.
Who knows?
There's nothing that shows that she hates him.
I'm choosing to believe she hates him.
Okay.
I liked the introduction to his home life because it
Mhm.
starts in the office and then you know he has his whole thing
Mhm.
and then it goes into the home life and I really enjoyed that. How did you feel?
That was when I was like, are we sure we want to do this? Are we sure we want to go home with Rishi? Like that was I was like,
Like I had the same reaction. I was like, because like when obviously they kept it on Rishi for about the first couple minutes, and I was like, ugh. At first I was like, did I just fuck up and say we should dash? I want to be on episode number 4. Like, I was like, because episode 3 was exciting,
mhm.
so I was like, I should have just stuck because I think that was the original episode I was supposed to be on.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it, I fucked up. This might be some boring. Like, who gives two fucks about Rishi? And
Well, I wasn't that harsh,
Yeah.
but yeah, okay.
I was like,
That's quite harsh.
what are we really going to talk about? Like, was
Mhm.
My first note when they go to the home side is like a Rishi episode is not something I would have been interested in previously.
Yeah, I
But
think we all
then-
have the same
Yeah, but then the next scene with him
that
watching
scene.
OnlyFans, coke,
That
nosebleed,
scene I was like,
peeing,
okay.
holding a baby. I was like, yeah, okay.
I was like, this is so
Something
much.
going
and
on.
I was like, this is too much.
Something's going on.
We
Something's
live in
going
the
on.
same life. We live in the same life.
Hey, think about that scene. Think about what you just described. He's doing so much in that. Like I thought his phone was going to
There's a lot
fall in.
going on.
Like it's
Nosebleed on the
it's
baby because of too much
the
coke. It's
baby,
crazy.
your card's getting declined. You're peeing. It's just
It's
so
crazy.
much.
It's can't
When
decline
he-
that.
when-
What about
when
that?
he-
How you
when
broke
he-
are you doing coke, man? That's one thing I learned.
when he opened his bank balance,
Mhm.
when he opened his bank account, and I saw minus, I was like, my nigga, how?
I didn't know you could owe your bank that much.
He said,
Like,
I didn't know.
his
This-
boy said, "How are you? Finance are still broke."
Still broke, man. Every episode we get, there's always something I'm not rich enough to understand this, and this is one of them. I think I didn't know you could owe your bank that much because he owes
and I think
over 200k to his bank.
I think when he says to Diana, who I believe is a different actress than the one we got in season 2, because she looked different.
I was thinking about that the whole time.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't
yeah.
remember this face.
She looks different. When he says to her, "You're a mother," I was like, "Oh, your head is fucked up, isn't it?"
Yeah,
I was like, "You're not." That's what I was like. I was locked in. I was like, "Oh, you're not a normal person." Like your brain.
What do you think about Nicholas?
I hate him.
Victor, what do you think?
Nicholas is the remember
The
Nicholas
guy
is
that
Person that they sold. He
the
sold.
house
sold,
too?
yeah.
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 That's the one that ended up banging his wife,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, allegedly.
allegedly.
Yeah.
I actually don't believe her.
What difference does it make?
Why don't you believe women? Why would you say you don't believe it? I thought it's saying to just drop unprovoked.
I can't say what I have in my mind to say.
I can't actually defend you.
So I can't say
Why
what
would she lie about that?
Yeah, why would
Anyway, continue. Please continue.
Yeah, how do you feel about Nicholas?
Nicholas? I couldn't care. I thought he was just nosy, and he needed to mind his fucking business.
Hey, you liked him?
I think he's a perfect character. I think Nicholas is the perfect embodiment of what. I've forgotten what was that overhead line that Rishi had in the first episode about living out in the countryside.
Oh yeah, like it. But I'll get about inheritance tax.
I think Nicholas is a perfect character for everything he's meant to represent in this episode.
Yeah, I think his writing is incredible.
I think
his writing and performance are great.
It's so good.
I think the actor plays him perfectly. Like he is like when he's like, "Oh, the older people will be a bit worried about you breaking it down," or the older people don't like the noise. Like
the noise.
He's the one.
And he says,
"Not
me."
Him.
Necessarily.
I hate him as a person. Yeah, I hate him as a person, but I think his
characterization
and his performance is perfect. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. When he goes, it's lovely when people come back to where they're from.
Just a little hint of a little racism.
This is why we riot.
Also, I hope you guys are staying safe.
Yeah, we are.
Tis what it is. Yeah, anything else you want to mention?
No, not him. I think I'm okay.
So we mentioned that Rishi had a few things going on in his life. Personal debts, about 20k. No, not 20k, 20k.
200.
I mean, to the
200k.
Oh no, shit! He owed the
200k
to
200k,
and then
he also had his work restrained.
He promised to pay 20k up front.
Oh yeah, that's what is that?
That's what he said. He only paid 20k that night.
Yeah, you're right.
The day before, and then let's not now talk about like what he owed to the bank.
Yeah. So I remember when casual name drop when Mickey and Conrad were here in season 2, they mentioned how they always like envisioned Eric and Rishi being friends, but like to them, but in the end, it was still like money comes in and Rishi was able to stab Eric in the back because Harper had the client. But I could see that friendship, quote unquote, really playing out in this episode. Like you could see that Eric was talking to him in a way like it's more than just you're my desk.
An employee, yeah.
Yeah. Like even the way they were talking about the money, and it's like again, it's part of we'll get into Eric's psychology probably next week again. But it's like Eric just saying, "Oh, take the money." I'll even imagine like it has not been there. Like part of that feels like Eric knows that Rishi is in trouble, and he doesn't think it's just horses.
I think he did. I feel like he does know Rishi's in trouble, but he doesn't know how deep.
Yeah. Oh, it 100% doesn't know
That's
how deep
fair.
he is.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't know
because
about
it's like when he let him like keep buying the pounds or whatever they were doing, and he was like, "I'll cover for you. It's okay." Up until what's the other boy's name said, "This is how deep we actually are in the whole this." That America was like, "Wait, what?"
So I thought Eric told him to sell.
No, Eric told him to close it. Eric told him to
Eric told him to sell it immediately.
Cut his losses.
Stop loss.
So,
Eric didn't know how deep in the hole that they
It
were.
still surprised him. Yeah, when Anrad said it still surprised. So there are two work problems that Rishi is dealing with. One is the work risk, which Aya is going to explain in a bit. And the other is basically from HR. Our favorite HR rep
Our
comes
man
back.
is back.
And look, guys, we have been early investors into the industry hype train. So I'll take whatever, unless otherwise proven to be incorrect, I'll take whatever wins we can get. When they said the Reddit thread was overhead at peer point, I took that as our win. I was like, that's us. I was like, Drake meme. I was like, look around. No other podcast is saying overhead at peer point. We have a segment called overhead lines. No other person is saying it. So I was like, I found that very funny. But yeah, so when that first came up, I was wondering if it was like them being Mika and Conrad, kind of like pointing the mirror back at us and criticizing us for finding those lines funny.
For enjoying it. Fair.
Yes. They're like, you guys are enjoying this thing, but look at when you see it in black and white, this is like what it is. And these are toxic things and things that could get him fired. But also, I also remember that Mickey and Conrad said that like they write the lines to make themselves laugh. So, you know what? We take, maybe we're all just evilly.
The mirrors for everybody.
I think we're all one and the same.
The mirrors for everybody.
That's
for everybody.
Did you guys know? At the beginning, did you guys like suspect or know who the mole might have been? The snitch was.
No,
I didn't know. I didn't
want to know. I wasn't thinking about it.
I think, yeah, because again, I think it goes back to what I was saying about how I feel like this very closely aligns with gangster films and Wolf of Wall Street. Because like you're like, oh, there is a traitor, there is a snitch, there is somebody wearing a wire. I didn't know that was the show we're doing in this episode. I thought it was like a random Twitter thread or random Reddit thread. So, but when he started becoming paranoid, I feel like he should have. I mean, to be fair, he did accuse Venetia,
everybody.
But he didn't stick. But like to me, Venetia would have been the obvious person, and I'd have stayed on that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be her.
I think that makes sense if you're sober. I think you stick with Venetia if you're sober. If you're high, then you know.
Bro, when he says the Chinese are coming for us or the Chinese are getting bigger,
bro, I bust out laughing. China is slowly growing more powerful.
China is slowly growing more powerful.
Look, I think I want to do a segment on that management meeting. But first of all,
yeah,
I think we should talk about the fallout from his meeting with HR, where he then talks to Eric and then lays into Eric a little bit.
Yes, you've lost the dressing room.
That was. I think that
my
was
favorite line of the episode, and probably also my favorite line reading of the episode.
Or you've lost the dressing room.
You've lost the dressing room, and then he walks off. Hot.
Because it's true. Like when Eric did the bullshit he did by sacking
Kenny
instead of the other way, I think that was like the worst possible move that he could have made.
It was very ill-timed, yes.
Like,
but it's also funny that Rishi thinks Eric fired Harper because Harper was doing better than him.
I read that as he thought that because she did the insider trading, but not in a like that she was cunning enough.
I don't think Rishi knows. I don't think Rishi knows about this.
She was there now. They were all there when she was. Because
she only confesses to Eric that it was what's his name, Jesse, that was texting her to do these.
No,
things.
she tells Rishi, look, he's texting me right now. Because Rishi's like, are you gonna fuck me again? And she's like, she's texting me right now.
That's fair.
So I think to Rishi, he's just like, well, she was cunning enough to get the job done. But I don't think he holds it as like insider trading. So it's like you're fired. I think to me that was the reason I thought he was fired. I was like, oh, she was cunning enough to get the job done and you fired her.
Also, at the beginning, do you guys think that Harper was setting Rishi up when she made that phone call?
The second time?
The first time?
The first time, no. The second time, I thought maybe.
Why? Explain. Because I didn't know why Rishi hung up.
No real reason. Because
it
just seemed weird. I was like, what can she possibly know?
But wasn't she correct?
She was correct both times.
Eventually.
So the Harper scenes are interesting to me and a bit weird because it looked like she's looking at someone.
Mm.
But obviously we don't see because she keeps going like she has an insider or whatever. So it looked like I just think
Yeah,
maybe it was Petra, but I feel like she definitely had information. I
I
mean,
think
she
she
said
did too.
she has the money now to make Daria like her, which is
Love that.
incredible.
Also love the Daria mentioned. Also, it looks
So
like they were
many.
in a house, not even an
I
office.
think it was more like an office. Yeah,
I think it was they were in their new offices.
yeah,
Mm.
definitely. No, I mean, it's been a while, it's been a
So
few
moving
months.
on from You've Lost the Dressing Room, he moves
Yeah.
immediately to the lunch scene with Sweet Pea,
Mm-hmm.
where he confirms that they had sex. They did have sex.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm like,
Very disappointing.
to me, I was like, that was our second W. Thank God. I was
I
like,
mean, fair
we
because
completed the first
we did call
episode.
that, but
Yeah.
then he goes, and I think this is his lowest point in this episode. He's so vile
So I think
in
literally
that discussion with her.
from that HR meeting, he started spiraling downwards.
I think so too. I think so too because he's so vile to her. Like she's like, acknowledge my work, and he says, acknowledge that mouth, which sounds like something Victor or Elon Musk would say. It's so
Not
bad.
to a woman in the workplace.
Victor or Elon Musk is an incredible comparison. But yeah, did you laugh at the line?
I did not.
Really?
Because
So
I'm a
because
sweet pea stan.
the thing is that at the point, no, not aside being a super at that point, it started looking like
They
okay,
just put
this
out the
shit is
black fist for this
I
white woman.
had to change it.
I swear. Well, like at this point, it started now. It stopped being funny and started
Uh-huh.
becoming
Yeah,
serious and like harassment.
yeah.
Because
That's
I
fair.
agree. I
before on
agree.
the floor, it had always just felt like banter.
Flirty banter. Yeah,
Do you
Was
get?
that before or after the hand, like when puts his hand away?
that is around the same time
Because I know that
because he
was the one.
says
That was for me.
he
For me, that
acknowledged the
was the
mouth
line.
and
I was
then
like,
he pushed the hand. Yeah.
fair. Because I know it was the hand thing. I was like, oh, okay, this is not like a banter back and forth thing.
Okay.
Because that's
I
also
want to
when
talk about.
he shows us that she has an OnlyFans and that she was the
Yes,
one from the
she was the one.
previous
I mean,
set. You knew?
I guessed.
Huh. Fair. I
Um,
didn't even it
Let
didn't
me talk
cross my
about
mind
the
at
two
all.
things, the only two
It
things
didn't
that
cross
really
my mind.
disappointed me in this episode. And I say that lightly because I love this episode, my favorite
Love this
episode
episode.
so far. But
Yeah.
the two things, I didn't know it was going to be such a ripped from the headline story we were running. Like the whole financial thing, and then I'm going to explain what it is.
Yes, please.
I
Because
didn't know it
come
was
on.
going to be such a ripped from the headline thing. So what Rishi is doing in this episode is he's been buying pounds against the dollar. Like he's betting on
Mm-hmm.
pounds rising against the dollar. And the reason he's doing this is because the chancellor of the exchequer, like
Mm-hmm.
top finance person in the country, is about
Mm-hmm.
to announce a mini budget, which doesn't really mean anything. It just means that the chancellor is going to make set a new financial direction for the country.
Mm-hmm.
And Rishi, the Thatcherite that he is, believes that the direction that the chancellor is going in is going to be good for the pound, is going to make people want to invest more in Britain. So
Mm-hmm.
people are going to buy more pounds. So the value of the pound against the dollar is going to rise. That's essentially the long that he's been running on sterling this whole
Mm-hmm.
time. What happened is exactly what happened in real life. In
When?
Liz Truss's mini budget, is the exact same thing.
Fair enough. Okay.
So the Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, in real life, but I don't know who it is in this show,
Yeah.
Aurora's boss, announces no, sorry, that's energy, not finance.
Yeah.
Anyways, announces that they're going to go all in on Britain. So they're going to cut
I
the
remember this actually. I remember
so
this.
they're going to
Yeah.
cut the top rate of tax. They're going to, cut a lot of taxes, and that's meant to encourage people to invest in the country. And then,
Mm-hmm.
like in real life, the market is just like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't fund any of this. So you're going to come to us to borrow. We don't want you to borrow from us. So we're going to raise our interest rates. And people begin to sell pounds because they're like, yeah, England is doing
Mm-hmm.
rubbish. And I think Eric puts it so well in the episode where he says the UK is a basket case and the market's pricing it as one or something like that.
Yeah. I
So
also
that's
says football
exactly
is
what
called
happened.
soccer now.
Yeah, football is
Um
called soccer.
so but you didn't like that. That was
I that's the one of the two things that I didn't really like in this episode. I was just like, oh, like it's cool that this is what's happening, but it also happened in real life, like quite recently.
But we did GameStop last season.
Yeah, but that was fun. Like this one was just like bad. Like people's mortgages went up. Like it wasn't fun. Like
Fair.
GameStop, you're sticking it to the man, but this one was just like, oh.
I think the
Anyways,
real
mean,
issue here is that
at the end of the
GameStop, you were
day,
not involved, but this one
maybe,
affected you.
maybe.
well, I think at the end of the day, life has to imitate art.
And then the second thing I
Yeah.
didn't like
I'm
really
articulating
like,
life.
and that's a stretch, but I just didn't think Rishi's issue was going to be as pedestrian as gambling, especially not horses. Like I get it narrative wise, but I'm just like, man, I thought you guys were going to blow my mind with like something a bit more rich.
I mean,
But they did, though. They did not.
Not really.
Like,
Just betting on horses. Nigga, people bet on horses every day.
but
it went. I feel like it went. It went more than that. Like he was betting on horses, betting at the table, the strippers, the addiction to OnlyFans,
I didn't say a single stripper. I'm not going to lie to you.
no, there are no strippers.
where he wanted. There were strippers now. Where
Just-
they knocked him the fuck
Nah,
out.
they were
I'm
just
like,
That was
those
a
were just
normal
women
club.
in a club, bro.
that was a strip club. That
Yeah.
was not a
It
normal
was
club.
not a strip club.
That was
It
a
was
normal
not a strip
club.
club.
That was a
It was just a
UK.
normal club.
I mean,
The thing is
That's
that
I understand that this is your expertise.
Aya is used to American strip clubs. So he doesn't know what the UK strip clubs look like.
I am pretty
That's
sure
a
that was a
UK
normal
strip.
club.
That's
It
a
was
UK strip
100%
club.
a normal club.
I
Anyways,
he asked the girls to come to his section, and then they didn't come, and he got bottles, and then they came.
that's a
I
normal
like.
club.
I know this is your area of expertise, but like I think that was a normal club. So I mean, there is a way to battle. If I wanted to like be on the writer's side, like I tend to battle your point. I said like that the whole point of it being pedestrian is the point.
Yeah, I get it. Look, and this is a very like surface level
You're not
grind.
really, yeah.
Like I
mhm.
didn't like I get it narratively. Like I loved it narratively. But
Yeah,
in the initial, I was like, oh, I would have hoped maybe he was addicted to like, I don't know, something interesting. Like, I don't know, like buying exotic peacocks or something. I don't know, something. Something that I don't understand. But like it's it's very superficial. Do you get?
but I mean, I guess we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? About like who is Rishi and where did he come from,
Exactly. And I was gonna bring that up because someone asked him
what happened to you,
directly
Yasmin,
in this episode. Yeah.
and
Were you always like this?
yeah, and I
I
don't
think that's
think
what they asked.
someone that comes up because we assume that he was like middle class, right? He doesn't do peacocks.
That's fair.
That's for
And
someone
if
that is
Vinny
like
is one
rich,
of
rich.
his school friends for real, then that's
Yeah.
fair.
I think he's even that middle class. I think is like
Maybe
I
a
don't think
stretch.
he. Yeah, I don't think he was. He wasn't definitely wasn't poor class. Poor like it wasn't like
Lower class, my dear.
lower class. I said poor class. But I think he was like he grew up in Stratford. I think.
Fair.
I think he grew up in Stratford. I don't think he was like they weren't strong like they were struggling as normal people struggle, but like they were
Definitely
on
East
benefits.
London, yeah.
Yeah, they were on benefits, but
Not
like,
on benefits, no.
yeah.
But at most one holiday a year.
If that.
If that.
But then he says, as long as I'm making money, I'm free. And what happens at the end? He makes money and he's free.
Vinny
I
is
think-
such a kind mobster. What did
Well, I
you
think
think?
I
I
think
think
they're
they're family.
They're
I think they're
friends
family. I think they're family.
Okay.
because
I
they're
mean-
both brown.
I think they're
Yeah,
family.
I mean, I'd hope his wife would know if they were family.
I don't think they're family. I think they're just
I'm
friends.
pretty
I think
sure they're not family, Victor. Victor,
Yeah,
why
I
do you
think
think they're
it's like-
family?
because they're brown.
This show is not interested in race, by the way.
We don't see color.
To be fair, I think it's interested in race when when similar people are talking about race.
That's fair. Yeah,
Like if these guys are who we're saying, like they grew up in Stratford, they both know the race.
that's true.
And they both know when that guy calls him Ramadani, they both know what's going on. Like
That's so good.
Can you guys remember when they went on their walk and the groundskeeper?
yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That
that's
he
talking about,
calls him
yeah.
Ramadani. Yeah. I didn't know it was you, Mr. Ramadani. I was like, oh wow, incredible. You just added an extra A there, didn't you? I love Eric's Ken Long's performance of when he's telling the security to go away. He's so happy.
He's elated. He's elated.
He's so happy.
No, but can you imagine the emotional roller coaster he would have been on?
So
Because
I want to talk about
this guy is
Yeah, go ahead.
long sterling nearly a billion pounds. And he's
So-
already made at least 50 million in losses.
Give me quickly, what is the what's the result? If this didn't work out, does the bank lose £1 billion? Like what actually happens?
No, because they'll sell at a
Loss.
lower price than they bought. So they will lose the difference, which is about 50 million.
Fair enough. Okay. So I think, and that would be enough to like alert Adler,
That's
right?
huge. Yeah.
Like Adler would know about that.
Yeah.
This show has stumbled is definitely the right word, but this show has found their cheat code. Like I think every show kind of has it. Succession, for example, it was like get everybody together in the same room and just start talking. Right. This show can create an intense trading sequence with all their eyes closed and all their hands behind their backs. Like the way they pull this off at the end of this episode, I don't know what is going on. I just know that all of a sudden then he needs to buy pounds or he needs to sell pounds. And like the reaction on everybody's face when he's pulled off, like Yasmin cannot believe what's going on. like
Bro,
even like Sweet Pea's
Venetia,
like, what
Sweet Pea,
Venetia's
nobody
like,
can believe what's happening.
like
Even
the
Mosala.
Musala becomes his best friend. And like I was like, oh, I just the way I won't talk about the music next, but like the way the music kicks in, the way like that whole thing he starts selling, you're like, oh, this is you guys' cheat code, isn't it? Like you guys know how to, like you mentioned it a few weeks ago that they can do mind drama out of like a line going up and
moving
down.
up
But
on the screen.
the way they did it here with Rishi's
did it
bloody face,
well.
blood on his shirts, like a true gangster. I'm just like, oh, this is
One black
you
guy.
guys have actually figured it out. Nathan
It actually
McKay's
reminded me of a dune scene like 2018 where all he needed to do was hey, yeah, and people were like, whoa, but don't see back, man. Cheat code for real. Every time we hear it, every time we see it, it bangs.
And you know, it's that's also like the downside of it all because because of who he is and how he's set up, is instead of him to take this as a lesson, right? As a lesson that okay, I need to slow down. It's like I can do no wrong. I am fucking king.
We'll get
Honestly,
to that. We'll get to the end of the episode because I wanna touch on the management meeting, which
okay.
I really enjoyed. Did you like it?
when he
Choice
started
management meeting.
calling everybody out.
Yeah, when Eric brings them to the room and says we have to be here for at least 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And then
I thought we were going
Yasmin
to
is
talk about
like,
that, but yeah.
do we need
No, we talked about HR.
A meeting on how to talk. Yeah, you're right.
on
On
how
how
to
to talk
talk to
to
each
one
other?
another.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I really enjoyed the way Eric says internet forum because you can
It's an
tell
old man.
the whole thing is annoying him. The whole thing is annoying him.
Oh,
On second watch, I think Venetia looks quite guilty when
Yeah, me too.
yeah, on the
I
second
saw
watch
it.
it's quite clear. It's quite clear.
Mm-hmm. And then she deflects, sorry, to Kenny.
Yeah, to Kenny, which
Yeah.
was masterful. That's great subterfuge. That is the way a traitor is supposed to act.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple lines from this scene because I think this scene had some of my favorite lines in the episode, and for different reasons. The first one was where everybody's, especially Rob, is like, "Hey, the way you talk is a bit." I forgot what he says, like backwards,
Mm-hmm.
and then he says, "I'm sorry for trying to make you laugh." And I was like, meta, first of all, because yes, yes, you are trying to make it. Yeah, fair enough. Like these lines are written for us to laugh. But then secondly, Musala's face at
His
that.
face.
Oh my god.
His
my
face
God.
is so good. Like when he turned, it's like, what?
I died. It was so funny. And then there was the line that we referred to earlier where I forgot was it Yaz that asked him,
Was
were you
Yasmin?
always like this?
Yeah, and she was genuinely shocked. She was like, oh my God, were you always like this?
Yeah. What do you think about his response to that?
What was his response to that? What did he say?
He's like, doesn't matter. I'm here now.
Oh.
Like, this is how I am now. Like, you have to adapt.
Yeah, I think
That's basically what he said.
this is we've said, this is all built. This is all manufactured. He probably had one mentor or someone that he saw, and then he was like, "I'm going to model it after that person."
Fair.
And he ended up like this. And that person was of the olden times and said these things on the floor.
And it was okay.
Yeah, well, it was permitted, maybe not okay, but yeah. So don't say what I'm about to say next, Victor. So I think he's like, yeah. I think again that's another thing that kind of reflected to me like the whole Jordan Belfort of it all because like he modeled this sort of Matthew McConaughey's character in that film.
Mm.
It's just like this is someone who a different path that he might have been a different person, but also a different path that he might have been selling drugs with his friend. So it's but yeah, any other things from that meeting?
No, that's it. I think there's only two more things I really want to talk about.
Let's go.
Venetia send-off and
Okay.
wrapping up, like him winning and what we want to say about that.
Well, should we do let's finish up first? I don't really think that's a send off now.
I mean, yeah.
She's still dating Robert.
I hope not.
Yeah.
But even that scenario, they haven't really sat down to talk about it. Like, because I think he's been avoiding her since.
No, it's been like 6 months. I'm sure they are still dated, or they would have told us that would have known that they're broken up, right? We
Like
just
Venetia
haven't
and
seen
Rob,
them. Yeah, Venetia and Rob.
they're fine.
I'm sure they're fine.
I'm sure they're fine.
They just haven't spent any time together.
5-pump chump is an upgrade.
From
It's an update. Back in my day, it was 3. You were 3-pump chump back in the day. 5-pump, that's 2 more pumps. Who said men can't evolve?
So what you're saying is that you're happy you're off the streets because the standards have been risen.
Yeah.
Have been raised. Sorry.
It's too high now.
I'm screaming.
Back in my day, all you need to get to was 3. Once you broke that 3 ceiling, you were fine. They couldn't say it anymore.
Back in my day is insane. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When she said that, I started doing mental math. I started doing my fingers to like, do I qualify?
Do you think 5 is a high bar? Do you think Venetia is going to end up working at Leviathan?
Most likely.
Because I think a lot of the things that she says in this episode, either Leviathan or Future Dawn.
Future Dawn is more her speed, man. She has to be smarter than Dan to go to Leviathan. That makes no sense.
I don't know if she knows about Harper like that.
She worked with her for a year.
Yeah, but not like that now. She was on the FX desk.
Surely Robert will tell her not to go.
Hopefully
somebody will tell her that you can't go.
Well, Robert likes her. Robert is Harper's friend.
Yeah, but you still know that like that doesn't. Wait, so what does she say that makes you feel like Leviathan, or just the
I think
of men
when
stuff?
she says the whole thing about like men, yeah.
I'm so annoyed because as we've gone through this episode, all the different alternates for my intro kept coming back to me. But
what was the alternate? Because I thought you were going to say.
I was going to do the Dead Man one as well. That was
an
alternate.
To say Victor the misogynist and Eyo the chauvinist. I thought that was where you're going to go.
I'm not a misogynist, just to get that out the way.
Last time you were angry when
I'm a
denigrated
feminist.
you.
Yeah, and then you went ahead with it anyway.
I mean, Victor, every man that this show has told us how many times that every man that says they're a feminist is a terrible person. Like this exact show. So I don't know why you would go out and say it, but okay, good on you. Okay. Should we talk about the conclusion?
Let's talk about the conclusion. So what happens in the end is also what happened in real life, where the Chancellor eventually walks back everything, and
remember this
MPC increases interest rates. So everybody's like, okay, they actually do have sense, and then the pound sort of stabilizes again.
Rebound.
And because that happens, and I guess just before it happens, it's not insider trading, but just before it happens, Rishi buys a whole load of pounds at the lowest, and then the minute it starts to go up, he begins to sell, and he makes his money back.
Does he sell everything to Musala's guy?
I don't know if he sells everything, but he sells
a big
chunk.
A bulk.
Yeah, because they all seem very happy after that.
Yeah, he sells a big chunk.
Because I think that was like the amount they needed to like cross over
to be in the green.
To be in the green, yeah.
Yeah. And then Arash says, you're just lucky, you're not even a good trader. No, the other way around.
That's what I was going to bring. I was going to bring up earlier when Victor was talking about how he ended up good and like how the high keeps going. I was like, this show is saying like he's just lucky.
Just
not about
which circles back to my life, right? Every time I come off of like obviously I end up winning.
Yeah.
It's actually just luck. And I tell myself, and there's one thing I always repeat to myself when I always end up winning. I was like, you actually don't have to work hard, just work smart.
No, but you
The
can't
whole
work smart for luck. Anyways,
yes, like there's
let's keep
only
going.
so
Let's
much
keep
luck
going.
will last. Anyway,
I don't
we'll
believe
Which
carry
you
is
this in
just now
why,
actual
because
therapy. We'll do
that is
this.
the opposite
Yeah,
of
we'll do
what
this
we
in
were
actual
saying to you.
therapy.
which
I'm not
is
even gonna.
That's the opposite of what we were saying to you just now. Um,
work smart, guys.
what do you think about him going back to Diana at
Is
the end? Like that scene
So
and the eventual, I guess, the ending of the episode.
so for me, the end of this episode is kind of how it it diverges from being my gangster movie show Wolf of Wall Street comp, because it's a TV show and it needs to continue. Right? In a movie, he will totally crash out. Sure, he might have a comeback later and he'll be selling a pen to the real Jordan Belfort or whatever. But like he'll crash out. He'll lose his wife, he'll lose all his money and everything. But it's a TV show, so he needs to kind of come back up a little bit. So and he also needs to kind of grow again because it's a TV show. And we need to see him next episode and still care about him. So I think that was kind of everything. Like he goes to Diana and he learns at least to respect her and respect her money. And like there's the line she says about, you don't know my parents' finances, that's your own prejudice. There's the whole thing about misogynist and chauvinist. So
but do
it
you
made sense to me. I was okay with it.
in your heart of hearts though, do you think he learned anything?
I'm not sure he learned anything.
And that's the problem.
I think he had surface level learning.
There was no learning done. He
Actually, I
learned
think if you
absolutely
split it in
nothing.
two, I think I can agree with you and then also still hold my thoughts. Because
So explain.
I think he does learn to respect Diana, which he didn't. I think he had just put her in a box as his English country rose and a wife and a mother. Yeah. But I think that dichotomy is broken in that scene.
Yeah.
I think everything else is the same though.
Oh yeah. Like he literally asked for 50K at the end. Like that's not even
from his best friend Vinny, the happiest mobster in the world.
In my
who's
head,
happy to lend people that owing him money 50K again. 25%. More than double of what they are owing you on interest this week. Come on.
In my head,
that's his brother for real.
This gives Diana an avenue to impose herself more in the finances. And then there will be a point where she's like, nigga, I know what you're doing. Like you cannot, like I can't, because we know she didn't know before he was like, that's my stuff. But now that she's giving him 200K, I'm sure she'll be like, I need to see the account. Yeah. So
did you think she knew about Harper before this episode?
No, I didn't. That was a surprise.
That was a good surprise. I was like,
even the way she described her as a skank or whatever she said.
Yeah.
Betrayed the fact that she's met Harper.
Yeah.
And Harper was at their wedding, but I guess whatever. But yeah, that was a surprise. But also, that might not be his son.
Because it says Hugo White. And then she goes, probably.
Probably. And then he's just like, it is what it is. What can I do?
I know. Such a shame.
It's like, good. You know what? We're all just messing around, and this is what happened.
I think that was like he realized that it's one of those things where I've done mine, you've done yours. Ojoro cancels Ojoro.
Shut up, Disco. Do me, I do you. Man, no go vex.
On that note, I even like the fact that like he tried to bolster and be like, oh, I can't believe you did. Was it Richard or whatever the guy's name is?
Nicholas.
And then like Nicholas, sorry. And then
they have to. It's like it goes back to how like they painted like reactions to men cheating and women cheating. It's like a man will cheat on you 10,000 times, and the one time you cheat on him, you're a bastard. Like, how dare you? Basically, is how literally that's the first like. Is that whole thing of they say that when men cheat it's just surface level, just want to have sex, but when women cheat it goes deeper and like it cuts men deeper. So
don't know, man, because I feel like he's more angry just because of Nicholas.
I don't think so. I think
like, if it was anyone else.
I don't think so. I think he's the kind of person that wants, basically he wants her to be subservient to him. He wants her to need him. He wants her to be the only person she can like run or turn to. So the idea of her now having options outside of him scared him.
I didn't even read
or
it like that
scares
because
him.
I don't think he thinks of her as like something that he wants to control in that way. But I could be wrong.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to put my shovel aside because I was so sure that Victor was going to use it to dig himself a hole, but
That's
he
fair.
didn't do that.
He didn't.
Victor, well done. No, I actually do agree with Victor, but I think he was at first, I don't think he was that angry. I think the fact that was
Let that be your soundbite.
Nicholas. No, not really. It's not just enough. I think they can wait to the 67th minute to listen to it. No, I do think the fact that it was Nicholas made him angrier.
Yeah.
But I also like that the fact that they just wrapped it up quickly.
Yeah.
I think the thing about Rishi is that when she became his wife and a mother, he expected her to be a different person,
To
which is, I
change.
think,
Yeah.
what Victor is saying about the subservience. Like, I think, for
Oh, I
example,
see. Okay.
that story she's telling him at the dinner table, I
About
think it
the
would have
friend that
worked.
ex are
Yeah,
called.
yes. It would have worked before they got married.
Definitely.
Like,
Because she
I think it
doesn't do
was
it if it hadn't worked before.
exactly. I think it was their thing. So she's a bit like, so, but like, he's like, because even the fact that he pushes her after, like, I was like, why did they
After
kiss
they
her? So, like,
kiss a
but they
little.
kiss, and
Yeah.
it's like, you're a
Yeah.
mother, which is an insane reply. So,
Great line. Great reading as well.
so I think, yeah, and I think he wasn't seen as a quote unquote sexual being post
Why quote
marriage.
unquote?
I don't know, but yeah, but I think so. Victor's point, and then he
How
wanted
do
her to
you
just be, yeah.
how do you measure up Rishi's journey in this with
Mm-hmm.
your feelings towards Yaz earlier in the season? In which it
Explain.
doesn't you know when you said like you wish the show would have made her pay a bit for some of the decisions and the ways that she was treating people, and it didn't, like not in a way that you wanted. I feel something similar for Rishi in this episode.
Okay, but my thing is, I think
I mean, he
I
does
always
get
thought,
beaten up.
yeah, that's the thing. Like they're always going to be fine. I think with Yasmin, I even said, I was like, I don't mind. Like, I know she's going to be fine, quote unquote, as in like, she's not going to, this is not the end of her story. I just wanted a little bit of punishment. And I think Rishi gets that punishment in this
That's
episode.
fair. That's fair.
And he only gets the
I think
golden
Victor's
parachute at the end.
That's fair.
But he needs to really, like, not downgrade. He needs to cut his pride down to get that golden parachute. Like, my thing with Yasmin at the beginning was that she didn't have to do
You
anything.
didn't have a cutting moment. I get.
Yes.
I get.
Everything was
Okay,
just,
fair.
it just happened to her. Then now all of a sudden she was the victim. She didn't, like, there was no point of her being like, oh, yeah, I was stupid for thinking I could survive without my dad's money or whatever. That was my thing with Yasmin at the start. Anything else? I want to
Yeah,
quickly talk about, okay, go ahead.
I want to wrap it up. So
Yeah.
I think, and this might be a hot take, but I think this season is trying to say something very specific about. What do you think? What do you think it
I
is,
have no idea. So you have to just say it.
Victor? What do you think it is?
About the women.
I think it's trying to say something very specific. No, about masculinity.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
I think it was very plain in this episode. So starting from the episode 1, when the tagline, well, not the tagline, but Eric is screaming at
We are men.
rather,
Yeah.
we are men and we are relentless. Episode
Mhm.
2 and well 3
Mock.
mostly.
But two also
When
mock. That's why we see Mock's insecurity.
yeah,
Mhm.
Mox insecurity. Eric asking if he fucks like a young man.
Mhm.
I would even throw in the sauna scene a little bit, although that's just mainly sexual for me. But like, who knows?
Yeah. So what do you think he's
But
trying
then
to say about
this
masculinity?
episode specifically, I think it's trying to say that masculinity, like the way we are thinking about masculinity, especially in the way it relates to work and risk, specifically in this episode, is a bit bad.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know. Bad is like very plain, but I think it's trying to say something
It's
specific about
dangerous.
masculinity.
I like that point because of the line that Eric says, where it's like people might take your machismo
Machismo, yeah,
as what they call as a signifier for how much risk you're willing to take.
yeah.
So you might think that being a man means like you are more risk prone at work, and that's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
And Diana also asks him, "What do you think it means to
Do
be a
you know?
man?
Fair
Do you know
enough.
what it means to be a man?" In this
And what
episode,
does she say? It's easier to raise um good
strong
boys,
boys than
strong
fix
boys, than to
broken
fix
men.
broken men.
Yeah,
That's an interesting.
I
Let's
think it's
look.
trying to say something interesting about masculinity in this.
Let's look for it
This
in
sequence.
future episodes.
Yes.
Just want to quickly talk about Nathan McKay. I thought he was really good in this episode. I thought the music, like he was having so much fun. One of my notes is "There's drums!" exclamation mark. That's just it. I was like, "There's drums." Um, I think the Uncut Gems thing probably gave them a different impetus because like it feels like a normal industry score, but also quite different. Like
Yeah.
a lot of this feels like a bottle episode. It's just like Rishi's head and everything, and like
It
even the way
is.
he kind of uses like Christmas music and everything. Like when
Oh.
Rishi's running from lunch.
I thought the little drummer boy score at the end
Mhm.
of, when he drops Hugo's money on the table, bitch. I thought that was so good. I thought that was so good.
Yeah, and even Hugo's money, that was so pathetic.
God,
What a way to show that like he's using his child's money.
that's
Like,
rock
oh my
bottom, man.
god.
Rock bottom.
Like the moment when
Beautiful
I think
money
it's
clip, though.
yeah, I think it was you're so old. You're so old and that's what you
Beautiful.
but yeah, no, that whole sequence, like even when he first goes to the casino the first time and he gets the chips, I think it was a score. I don't think it was a needle drop, whatever. Share like it's just really well done. I really like the music this episode. Do you have any overhead lines?
Just one, and I think it was all part of the same. Like there was a bunch of lines before this one, but it was one of the three wise men certainly didn't bring Jesus a top rate price cut.
Yeah, and one of the ones before it was, if anyone deserves a firework shoved up their ass, something is the chancellor. There's something in between that I didn't get, but like it
Yeah.
was basically those were my two as well. Okay, we're wrapping up now. Does any final thing anybody wants to say?
Nah, man.
I
I
really
didn't
love
think
the
I would
episode.
enjoy an episode so specific or so focused on one character, but man,
Yeah,
I'm very happy.
especially on the character that we didn't like we liked as a side character.
Yeah,
and it just ends up being I think we're all like started off quite skeptical, and then we're just like, oh, this is incredible. Dama, thank you very much for returning and talking about this episode with us.
Talk to
See you again.
someone.
For
Talk to
having
someone,
me.
please.
I mean, I would appreciate. You can invite me on like next week again. I would appreciate that.
No, it feels like you have a lot you need to get through.
Yeah,
I feel like you should. Yeah, I just feel like you need to get through.
you need to be doing more talking, but it's not here.
First of all, it's the thing is I don't have a problem.
Oh wow! Okay, that's perfect place to end it. We have spent 80 minutes talking about your problem. You cannot just end it by saying you don't have a problem. You literally admitted to your problem yourself.
No.
Let's not do
So
this.
the thing is, I never said it was a problem. I said it's a way of life. A way.
But this episode showed you there is a problem. That's what the episode showed. There is a problem.
If you mix it with like obviously if you start to let that affect like your marriage, your I won't say personal life, but like it is personal life. But yeah, I don't think it's a problem if it's managed well. Obviously, he took it a bit too far with like gambling with his whole life. That's when
I think again the point is that this addiction does not stay in one place. It permeates through all facets of your life.
Wrap it up.
Which is
wrap it up.
Thank you, but thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for coming on. I'm really glad we enjoyed this episode because, like we said, we're all went in skeptical. Well done, Mickey and Conrad. Well done, Saga already. Well done, Zoe Whittle. It's just a very good episode. Well done, everybody involved. Again, I just hope these guys get their due at next year's
Submit it
Emmys.
for Emmys, man. Submit it.
I just really hope they do. Eyo, quick fire, Dama, yes or no? We're halfway through now. This is better than season 2. Do you think? Dama?
Yes.
Okay. That's insane because I did not think they could do it. Honestly,
it's better than season 2, yes, and there's a lot more emotion involved for me. Like this episode, for example.
Quick fire, Victor, quick fire.
Making me feel the way I felt.
But yeah.
And then the episode before when I cut the show.
But yeah, I do think they could do. I thought season 2 was going to be the high watermark, but well done.
That's crazy.
Alright.
Coming from a Pierpoint glazer like you.
No, anyway, we'll talk about this later. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Join us for back half of the season. I'll talk about the rest of the season. Yeah, join us next week when we'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.